Well, everybody, welcome back. This is Coach Rob, and I'm glad to have you here at my YouTube channel. This is where I talk about things that come up from athlete conversations, what we call our coach's log, or I call my coach's log. And today's topic is a little bit of clickbait. You probably saw that, and it's titled Interval Thieves Get Schooled. And what this is all about is a conversation that happened between myself and one of the folks that I coach. This gentleman in our regular weekly call had said, "You're not going to believe this, but I've got local folks stealing my workouts, your intervals." And I think he was anticipating that it would kind of, I don't know, tweak me or something, but I kind of got a kick out of it because I knew where this was going. And quite honestly, I do find it flattering. The old cliche is that, about the best work being borrowed, you should be flattered by it. And I am, to a point. The story's kind of funny. Let me share this with you. So this gentleman lets me know that he's been riding in some group rides. This is prior to the COVID outbreak, and that he was hearing that people were kind of really impressed with his recent comeback. He had some downtime. He was just really holding steady. And things like that, that they were surprised to see, the fact that he wasn't at the front very much in these group rides, that he was holding his own, but he wasn't really pushing people. But then when he would show up to the races, that he was absolutely clobbering everyone. And he, didn't comment on it, kind of kept things to himself. And then what happened is that he continually progressed and found that, in a recent online crit after the virus had happened, is that he, I think, finished 30th, and some of the folks that were talking to him or behind him as they were progressing and didn't know he was listening, was they were finishing 80th to 100th place, I think, in a very large crit and Zwift. And the comment was, well, his workouts aren't working, so he must be a sleeper. I just got the biggest kick out of that comment. And I don't know if they know he knows, but if you're watching this because he thinks that you do, I'm not so sure about that. But if you do, there you go. You've been outed, buddy. So what's going on? Well, in this particular case, this athlete has had a very long build up to the start of the racing season. Now, in their particular market in the United States, he's probably one of the athletes that I coach currently that races the earliest as far as, the off season goes compared to most people that I coach maybe in the Midwest. I'm a virtual coach, if you like. I don't particularly care for that. I consider myself a private coach. I do work with people one-on-one, but a very large portion of the folks that I work with don't live in my backyard. They're not neighbors. They're not even in the next city. Some of them are multiple states away and even countries away. And we work through phone, text, email, a lot of things like WhatsApp, Skype play a very large role in this practice and its success. So what's happened here is that in this gentleman's buildup is that he's following the guidance that I've given him. And he is spending a lot of time doing sweet spot work and things like that. He's a very strong, very powerful rider. And we're trying to build up his longer duration endurance for things like gravel races. We haven't even begun yet to work on his real short duration efforts because primarily, we're all taking a big step back right now with the way things have happened with the pandemic. Now, back to the point where the comment was made from these interval thieves was that his workouts don't work. I'm not as strong as he is. Well, guess what? Just because you've grabbed some intervals from someone who's strong does not necessarily mean that they're going to work for you. So that being said, I'm going to do you a solid this week, and that is I'm going to talk to you all about what it means to be coached and what goes into that practice of coaching endurance athletes. I don't just coach cyclists. I coach runners, I coach triathletes, I've coached rowers, rock climbers, motorsports, you name it. In the endurance world, I've touched on it. And in some cases, mainly, consulting, sometimes just riding. And in other cases, it is a one-on-one relationship with an athlete. But in all these cases, there are some fundamentals that I think get missed by the self-coached athlete, and we're going to go through some of that. I did touch upon an earlier version of this video that I have some other materials that I'm going to be talking about that's really kind of timely that all this kind of came together. And I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to Mark Liversedge from Golden Cheetah. If you're not familiar with them, I'll leave you a link. Golden Cheetah is a product that is open source that allows you to do data analysis on power files, everything that you would, data-wise from your Garmin, whether it's running, cycling, swimming, rowing, hiking. There's all kinds of sports that you could track in that. And I will warn you off the top of my head, it's not for the faint of heart. It is definitely a tool for analysts. And there are a handful of charts and graphs that you can use out of the box. It will probably prove to be very helpful, but it takes quite a bit to extend the functionality of the app. So back to our interval thieves. What happened is that my athlete was loading, I guess, his workouts from Zwift or maybe directly from his Garmin at times, and they were being seen on Strava. And the titles of my workouts get copied from time to time. I delete mine, quite honestly. It just says Zwift, doesn't give any indication of what kind of work I was doing. You could certainly look at it and get some kind of an idea of what I'm working on. I quit doing that long ago in my own particular cases, primarily because of fellow competitors. And just because one thing works for me may not work for you. And the other thing too is that I think gets missed by a lot of folks is that when they start to borrow other people's workouts or maybe they're just going out to like the ERG database on the internet and copying workout files and not understanding how to structure all of those workouts. Should you be doing 2, 3, 4 days of sweet spot work back to back? Absolutely not. How much recovery should you be doing in between those workouts? What does that recovery look like? What else is missing from your diet of training that would help you get to where you want to be? That is a big part of coaching. Now, when he brought it up, would I be upset that someone was stealing my workouts? And I kind of chuckled and said no, because when we start talking about sweet spot, those workouts have been around for a very long time. You could go to the ERG database right now, grab a copy for a fit file, or maybe even craft your own version of it in Zwift as a ZWO file, and there you go. So we all stand on the shoulders of giants. What really happens though is how that work is structured and how it's structured to your calendar, not my calendar, not one of the folks that I coach's calendars. There is so much involved, not to mention everything else that goes on in the background. We're going to talk about all those foundational items. You can't just think about the workouts. How are you fueling for this work? How are you mentally preparing for this work? What other auxiliary work have you done to help shore up and improve your own physical foundation in an effort to do what? More work and be able to finally race harder and faster than you ever have in your life. All right, everybody, that's all the time I have for today's video. This is, once again, Coach Rob, and hope you enjoyed this. Please feel free to leave comments or questions about this. If you are the said interval thief and you want to get in touch with me, I would love to talk to you. It'd be kind of interesting. I'm not mad. I just got a big kick out of it, and I'm not laughing at anybody. I found the whole thing a little humorous. If you want to reach out, you can definitely leave a comment here, or you can reach us at pauseperformancecoaching.com. I'll leave a link to our Contact Us page also. So feel free, and until next time, have a great rest of your training week. I look forward to talking to you guys very, very soon.